السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. قال سبحانه وتعالى: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فلما أسلم وتله للجبين صدق الله المولان العظيم. All praises to our Lord, our Creator, and peace and blessings be upon Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the final messenger. As we get closer to our Eid, we need to learn more and more from the life of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And the ayat that I just recited, in there Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala summarizes the test of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And we know the test, it was a dream that he had a few times where he had to sacrifice his son. And remember, the dream did not show that he had done sacrificing his son. He was just trying to sacrifice his son. And when we explain it to kids, we have to be very considerate, because kids cannot imagine this kind of a horrific thing where a father is slaughtering a child. So it's a very, very difficult thing. So please, if you're explaining it to someone, especially children, explain it kindly. The dream just showed that Ibrahim alayhi salam was expected to sacrifice his son. He just had to make that dream happen. So he asked his son, what do you think? And because the son was someone who had submitted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our focus is going to be the word submitted. So his son had submitted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he said, Dad, you seen the dream, then go ahead. Do whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you. Inshallah, you'll find me sabir, patient. Sabr karne wala. Like, you'll find me patient. And then when the actual time came, Ibrahim alayhi salam tried. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not want Ismail alayhi salam to be hurt in the least. That was not the point. The point was the attempt to test the servants and to show all of us that when I test my greatest servants, they end up passing. So you try like that. When Allah tests us, we need to pass also. And if you want to go deeper into why that specific test, why couldn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala test them in a different way? Because as a human, we have a few things that we really like. Some of them are wealth, money. Number 2, fame, shuhrat, honor, izzat, popularity, likes, followers, subscriptions. And number 3 is the love of family. So the first 2, Ibrahim alayhi salam already passed those tests. It was test number 3. So test number 1, money meant nothing to Ibrahim alayhi salam. Number 2, the love for popularity, he had none of that. Because the religion that he was bringing always got him in trouble. He talked to his father said, get out of the house. He talked to his community, they said, we're going to burn you. So he didn't care about shuhra. He wasn't there for the likes. So he already passed 2 tests. He already passed 2 tests. The third test was the love of children and family, which is natural love. Allah gave us that love. Do you understand? Allah put the love of the wife and the child in the heart of the father and the husband. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already tested him with that when he told him, go to Makkah and leave your wife and child there. So he had to leave them and walk away. So that was already a family test A. And he passed that. Allah gave them the Zamzam water. The water of Zamzam was produced as a miracle, and the water still stays with us till today. So family test number 1 already came. Allah tested them with hunger and thirst and danger. So Ibrahim a.s. already passed. And now the child is bigger. And you know that when a child is bigger, you have more love for them because now they mean more to you. You invested more time into your child now. If your child is 1-year-old, you gave them 1 year of time, resources, emotion, love, care. So you have less expectation from 1-year-old. But now when he's 12, the emotions are more powerful now. Now you see them as a shadow of you. You see yourself in your child. A mother will see that her son and her daughter, they have some similarities from her to the child. And the father can say, yeah, well, this son is like me a little bit, and that one is a little bit like that. And you can see yourself in your children because they're almost your height. And the Quran mentions when Ismail could walk with daddy. When Ismail could walk with daddy, meaning he was a big kid now. And that's when the test came. So the test was to show all of us that when I test my prophets with the most natural love, which is love of children and wife, they're still willing to sacrifice that love. And the Quran mentions فَلَمَّا أَسْلَمَا, when they submitted. Submit means take it, like I let it go. Allah, you want it like that? Here, have it. So that is the test. Sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to test someone with their family, and that has to happen. So this can happen through sickness. Sometimes a little child you find out has cancer suddenly. Sometimes you find out your child has a chronic disease, it's going to affect them forever. Other children you find out they have autism, a learning disability, or an injury that's going to affect their life. So all of these things are tests from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to show that because we are the property of Allah, we are full property of Allah. We are not independent people. I want to quickly hint towards depression. Depression is when you think of yourself as a separate entity which needs to be pampered, loved, and taken care of, and you hate it when you go through a test. Because you see yourself as a separate entity. But if you see yourself as Allah's property, suddenly everything is okay with you now. For example, a very selfish person gets sick, they get cancer or a big sickness. Now they're screaming, angry, yelling, talking about that food made me sick, this happened, that happened, or you did this to me and this, and he's angry at God even. Why? Because he sees himself as a separate entity, separate item. But when you make that same thing someone else's property, suddenly now you don't get to make the calls. You don't make the shots. Allah calls the shots. So when you look at Ibrahim alayhi salam, he didn't call the shots in his life anymore. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling him, this is how you have to sacrifice, this is how you have to sacrifice, this is what you have to let go of. And that's where inna lillah, you know the famous dua, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. That sentence is full of so many deep messages. One of them is inna lillah. Those two words are powerful. It means we are Allah's property. In Arabic, lam means ownership. So inna lillah, we are for Allah. So that means when Allah tests you, don't think of yourself as, oh, why me? Be like, oh, I'm Allah's servant and He wants to test me. That's okay, I'm His property anyways. I'm His property. He can do whatever He wants. He can make me happy. Adhaka wa abka. The Quran talks about this. I can make you laugh and He can make you cry. That's His domain. When He makes you laugh, you don't become a sinner. And when you're crying, don't become impatient. Stay in control. So that is the test, and that's why Ibrahim alayhi salam was tested with his son and his child, because there's so much love. And was the point to hurt them? No. And right away when they submitted to Allah, and that's where the word Islam comes from. Many of us, we think Islam, it means peace. Islam in Arabic doesn't mean peace. Islam means submission. Aslama yuslimu Islam, and if you pick up the dictionary, it means submission. And that's why the ayat that I just read, falamma aslama, when they submitted to Allah. So the biggest lesson of Islam we are learning right now as we come closer to Hajj, because we are being told to be Muslim. And one of the biggest titles Ibrahim alayhi salam and his son Ismail got, well, they were Muslims. وَجَعَلْنَا مُسْلِمَيْنِ لَكَ. Oh Allah, make us those who are Muslims to you, those who submit to you. So we need to submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when you do that, initially you might feel scared, like, oh, what's going to happen? Like for example, you will see some brothers, they might have a slightly haram business. So you tell him, brother, let go of that, start something a little different, Allah will give you barakah. Somebody's selling weed, you're like, brother, let go, Allah will give you a halal job, stop selling weed. The person thinks, no, if I sell weed, I make quick bucks, otherwise it's not going to work. Let it go, submit to Allah with the haram risk, Allah will give you the halal. You have to submit. When Ismail alayhi salam submitted, that's when the ram, the sheep from the sky was brought to be sacrificed. So you have to let go, that's when the blessings come. If you're holding tight, the blessings don't come. If somebody's selling weed and heroin, and they're saying, Allah give me halal rizq, oh Allah give me halal rizq, I'm so sorry to you, brother. You do not trust Allah with halal, that's why you're holding tight to haram. And those young people who have haram relationship with girlfriends, hold on tight because you're holding on to haram. And you're asking, oh Allah, give me a pious wife, you're lying. You got a haram girlfriend, you're texting her bad things, you're talking to her in dirty ways, and then you're asking Allah for a pious wife. It doesn't work like that. You have to let go of the haram, then Allah will give you the halal. So that is the test. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us understand. And once we submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are in the system of Ibrahim alayhi salam. We finally become Ibrahimi. That's why when the Jewish people were arguing with the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, what was the argument? The Muslims were saying, we are more Muslims. We are closer to Ibrahimi system. And the Jews said, no, we are more Ibrahimi. So it's an honor to be Ibrahimi. And when we sacrifice the animal on Eid day, what are we doing? We're showing Allah, oh Allah, I'm sacrificing this animal, but the thoughts are Ibrahimi. Oh Allah, I'm sacrificing my ego. My haram intentions, I'm just sacrificing them. My haram rizq, I'm sacrificing it here. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do haram things. I'm letting it go. I'm not going to show arrogance to my elders. I'm going to let it go. I'm not going to talk disrespectful to other Muslims or non-Muslims. Oh Allah, I'm letting it go. I'm not going to talk disrespectful to other brothers of mine. You sacrifice all that, and that's the qurbani. Qurban means you sacrifice, you let it go. So now they give us something to practice. Someone with the azan, please.